Hey, hello, and welcome to episode 40, the Thanksgiving special of Coach's Corner with Justin and Ethan. I'm host Justin Schollard.
And I am Ethan Wolf.
And did you guys know that between Thanksgiving and New Year's, the average American gains 8 pounds?
That's what's wild.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're talking like 2 months, basically.
Not even.
Not even. Wow, like 6 weeks, maybe?
Depending on the year, yeah, 6 weeks.
I guess if you include New Year's, 5, 6 weeks.
Think about it. Like, it all starts around the last week of November. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's Friendsgiving.
Turkey Day.
Then it's the actual day itself. But then the night before Thanksgiving apparently is like one of the biggest drinking nights.
Yeah, because everybody's off work and back in their hometown or wherever. Yeah. And it's like,
totally.
I do or do not want to be here. Let's go get some drinks.
And then December is just Christmas parties and shindigs. And then around the 20th, like the whole country just basically just hits pause.
Yeah, they're just like, we're out.
It's just you're flying home, you're drinking or whatever. Anyway, so
you go into vacation mode, and then you know, close it all off with probably one of the other biggest drinking events of the year. New Year's, yeah.
So, I always say to our clients, like, we're going to do like a 0 pound challenge, meaning that if we can get through Thanksgiving to New Year's and we're breaking even, that's a win, baby.
Yeah,
that's a win.
Bad.
So that's what we're going to talk about today is just like how to at least break even around Thanksgiving. I know I'm going to enjoy myself and not really worry too much about how much food I'm eating. I think that like the reason we track calories, the reason we pay attention is because we're building fitness equity up. We're building equity, which is your cushion.
A little cushion.
And then when the vacations come and the holiday seasons come and that's when you tap into that equity and you get to just sort of like coast for a few days and then get back on track, build that equity back up, and then you can coast it again. And if you do it right, you can allow yourself those days where you don't have to, just like sit there weighing all of your stuff every single day.
Because if you either stay the same or even gain a few pounds during the year and then fall somewhere within range of the average weight gain for the end of the year, it makes sense for all of a sudden 3-4 years, you're like, oh, I've gained 30 pounds.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years, gained 30 pounds. And you're like, whoa, wait a second.
And if we could like travel back through time, it probably would be in that last quarter of the year.
You're doing that 5 to 8 at the end of each year. And then if you're not paying attention. So yeah, 100%, right? It's like we want to be able to enjoy ourselves. We want to have an enjoyable life. We don't want to live in a cage all the time, so to speak.
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
It's just
sometimes.
Just sometimes. But anyways, if you don't know who we are essentially health coaches in general. In particular, I think that any good health coach eventually kind of just moves more into lifestyle and nutrition. I think that's what we could classify ourselves as. Yep. I own an online business right now where we work with people who just need some accountability and some structure, coaching, weight loss, nutrition, all that good stuff. Ethan owns a studio, a gym here in Los Angeles where he does the same thing, just kind of more in person. But we've known each other for a long time. We've worked together for many years, and combined we have like 20 years of experience each in this world. So that's why we feel a little qualified to help.
Combined is 40.
That's 40 years on episode 40. And I'm 40, and he's turning 40.
40 next month, 2 months from now, but actually at the end of December, end of the year.
Coincidence?
Still 2024.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Anyway, so what we're going to do today is just chat a little bit about like what we would do and what we'd recommend to our clients turning into fall, kind of rolling into the holiday season now. We're going to use Thanksgiving because I think about this time the episode will come out. It'll be around Thanksgiving. But really, you can use this as a framework for vacations and for any holiday or what have you. So First and foremost, what's a typical Thanksgiving weekend look like for folks out there?
I think, we mentioned it earlier, but definitely drinking is involved for most adults. Obviously, not everybody drinks, so don't want to put everybody into a pigeonhole there. But Wednesday is the biggest drinking day of the year.
Apparently, Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the...
and like I said, it's whether maybe you want to be home or maybe you don't want to be home. Yeah. You're probably...
Or maybe,
you want to go out and have a drink,
So you're either... you're either like back at home with your folks and you meet up with old friends, or you don't have any friends and you just sit at home
or you don't want to hang out with your folks, and so you go like, I'm going to be out, I'll be back. But anyway, and I think there's kind of like obviously a gluttonous, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I enjoy it. We all have that. I think some part of us is like, ooh,
yeah,
what good things are there to eat, or just that mentality of it's a kind of a complete free for all with food.
Yep.
And I think that the weekend as a whole obviously just kind of turns into a let it all go, fuck it mentality often, especially for, within the context of people that might be on a weight loss or body composition journey.
Yeah.
But even for most people, I think most people are just like, whatever.
Yeah, just everybody. And I think that like this is the work, guys. So if you're listening to this stuff and you're curious about health and fitness and weight loss, and you want to really nail this thing and not just be the statistic where you lose 10 pounds and then gain it back because it was Thanksgiving, and then lose another 10 pounds and then gain it back because it was a vacation. But like actually like get like over that threshold where you're like, I look and feel great, and I'm right where I want to be, and I feel like I'm on top of this now. Then this is the work. And here we are going into another holiday season where already on consultation calls, we're hearing a lot of, well, maybe this all sounds great. Maybe I'll just start in the new year.
Yep.
And it's like, because you know that what this next fucking 6 weeks is going to look like for you.
You know the amount of discipline or the current you're
either
face.
like
you don't want another piece of pie. You have that grandmother, parent, uncle, aunt.
Yeah.
That's just like, oh, but like your plate's so small or whatever.
It's just this like if then fallacy. Or excuse me, when then fallacy. Like when the holidays are over, then I'll get serious about my nutrition. Right. When I have more money, then I'll start saving more money. It's like, but that's the trap that keeps people stuck forever. But if you were to talk to anybody who does the thing that you're trying to accomplish, aka put on 10 pounds of muscle, lose 20 pounds of fat, both, you just start. And you just look at it as like, you got to take ownership right now, in the day, in the moment, and not keep waiting and postponing for this like better time that you've convinced yourself exists, but yet another 10 years have gone by, and that better time, for whatever reason, just still hasn't shown up for you.
Materialized quite yet.
Right.
Because it's gonna be a dance of having to create new behaviors, and that's never gonna be easy. Right, it's just how we're wired and all that good stuff. And so the idea that if some other circumstance changes, that'll make this other behavior change more accessible, even if that is true to some degree, for which there are many situations in life, the fundamental line is you're still going to have to be faced with new behavior change. So whether you have more money, or your kid goes away to school, or it's after the holidays, like just because it's January 7th doesn't mean you're all of a sudden going to want to inherently just like automatically do everything you're supposed to do. Oh, now I'll just do my 10,000 steps, count my calories, exercise 3 days a week. It's just that you get 8 hours of sleep. It's just like, oh, now that's January 7th, it'll all just fall into place. It's like, nah, it's not going to happen.
Hasn't yet, and you're 40 years old, so you've had a lot of January 1st.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So it's just like, it's like, listen, I'm all about like the ritual and like this symbolism of like a fresh start. Like I do like that. Like, okay, it's January. Like let's write some goals. Like let's set some goals for the year, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And reflect. But let's not wait in depth. Let's not keep using that as a reason why we postpone and delay.
Right.
And convince ourselves that it's okay to procrastinate on what's important.
Because there's always going to be something else. Like, what if your birthday is January 15th?
Yeah, right.
Anniversary is on February 12th.
I mean, Tanya and I it's Tanya's birthday. It's Super Bowl. It's our anniversary from when we met, and now it's going to be our wedding anniversary. And this year we're going to be. I mean, it's like, for example, like that would be just like February. You know what I mean? So like I'm good for January, and then like, well, February is a fucking mess.
Yeah, and so that could so easily be like, well, I could start in January, but February's going to be so crazy.
So I'll start in March.
All right, we got a quarter down.
yeah, there you go. You could have already been there twice.
Yeah.
You could have been to your goal twice.
But it's Memorial Day soon.
Right. Just kick it off.
Spring
New
is
Year's.
happening. Our kids are going back to
So, if this is going to be you then, and if this is an identity that you want to possess, which I hope that it is, it's worthwhile, then here's what we do. Okay? Here's what we do. We look at it. It takes just it's like the old saying, it's like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's the same thing. It's like, here we are. We have a runway. Thanksgiving is coming. Hopefully this episode gets out a week or two earlier. So if you do hear it, you can put this into action. But it's like, let's just think about like, what are some strategies to set you up for success for the weekend really, and then the day in particular, and then you can use this as a framework for other things. But like at the end of the day, we're playing the calorie game. And if the goal is body recomposition, and that means essentially some combination of going through a fat loss phase to lean out, and then maybe like a push phase to build some muscle. But we are playing the calorie game. Always. And man, you'd be surprised at how many calories an adult can eat in one day, man. Especially on a day like Thanksgiving where there's like no limitations. And
you wake up, you start drinking some beer. I don't wake up maybe, but like, yeah, you start drinking some beers before
7, crack your beers.
Yeah.
Start
I
cracking
feel
your
people start drinking like noon, easy.
Yeah, just go to an airport.
Man.
Oh, God, that's a side note, a little tangent, but man, I can't believe that.
Yeah, thousands of calories, especially like all the fats and desserts and sweets and second servings.
And I think that like we just tend to like generalize food. Yes, it's a lot, it's a little, but like the margin of error is small, and people don't realize that. Where especially if you're like, let's just say hypothetically, your case study, you're like a 38-year-old woman or a 40-year-old dude, and maybe you're not that physically active. Maybe you train sometimes, but you don't have a ton of muscle mass on you. You're not that active. Like, man, the difference between like losing or gaining a pound of fat a week is like that one little extra snack in the afternoon. Really, could, if you're eating at maintenance and you have like a 500 calorie snack every day, that could be an extra pound of fat a week that you're putting on, and you're wondering like, what the hell's going on? I don't even eat that bad. So anyways, all that to say, we have the weekend coming up. So what I'd recommend is we sort of like start thinking about how we can get a little bit more accurate and start shaving calories off as the day approaches, right? So hopefully you track some sort of calories. Hopefully you understand how many calories your body needs. And if you don't, I think a good rule of thumb for like maintenance would be like your body weight times 15.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So if you're 200 pounds, that's 3,000. That'd be like a maintenance calorie. Maybe it's a little on the high end, somewhere between 13 and 15 would be like a maintenance.
I was gonna say 13. Yeah, if
you want to go into a fat loss, back of the napkin rule of thumb, your body weight times 10.
Definitely.
Something like that, right? So that would give you like your calories. So, if you're a 150 pound person, times 10 is 1,500 calories. That'd be like a fat loss thing for you, right? So hopefully you understand that at least, right? So now it's like, okay, we want to just be able to let go on the day, like you were saying.
In some capacity, right? Yeah, because there's ritual even just like New Year's Eve. There's ritual
just like
unplugging. In the feast. Yeah, just doing the thing.
Mm-hmm. So then what I'd suggest is a couple of things here. Shaving an extra 500 calories off every day for like 4 days leading up to it, or even to a few hundred calories off for like a full
150, week. 200, but just thinking about the week ahead. Because one way to think about the calories is a weekly aggregate. Obviously we look at it a daily calorie, and I think that's more accurate, but you can also look at it as a weekly aggregate. And so if you were to put your weekly aggregate together and the total calories you need for a week, and you were to kind of shave some off every day, obviously if you're a larger individual, larger male, 500 calories I think is doable. If obviously you're a smaller person, 500 might be a little much, maybe 200 calories. Mm-hmm. But then that kind of gives you a little bit of a summed deficit for when you get there, so that you have a little more cushion to enjoy yourself.
Yeah, think of it this way. Think of it as like, okay, let's say you get a paycheck, right? And your paycheck is $5,000. And every time you get a paycheck, a certain allocation goes here, a certain allocation goes there. And let's just say you have a special account for vacations. Mm-hmm. But this year is a big vacation. This year, it's instead of it just a regular week like you normally do, this one's going to be 2 weeks. And you're going and you're going to take fancier tickets and you're staying at fancier hotels. So you need to save a little extra more.
Yep.
But the vacation's not for another few months. You got a handful of paychecks coming up. So maybe instead of the normal 1 or 2% of your check that you would allocate towards leisure, maybe because this one's a doozy, we might want to shave off like 3 or 4% in that same account. And that's the analogy with calories and sort of like building a bigger deficit leading up to a high day.
Yeah.
So that, once it all kind of nets out, it's the same, and you've saved up, so to speak, as many calories, give or take, as you might consume extra over that weekend. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if it comes out to a net zero, you've mitigated any weight gain.
Yeah.
Mitigated the damages. You're mitigating having to pull out the credit card on vacation.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing.
When you're 5 days in, it's a little bit pricier than you thought. You open up your wallet, you see the debit card, you flip back to the credit card.
Exactly. You're like, I'm going to put this meal on this guy.
You know what? I'll figure this out later.
Exactly. This is a future me problem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how that goes too. And so, just to help prevent that potentiality from coming to fruition, practicing a little restraint for the week before you go on Thanksgiving.
100%.
Maybe, just like, I think a big one would be like, don't drink if you can. Like, just don't even drink any alcohol.
Yeah. Just for definitely, especially if you're including that weekend, if you're doing a solid like Thursday to Thursday.
Yeah.
Like, cut the alcohol out. And other things too, of like the anticipatory component of get your steps in.
Yeah.
Get your exercise in. Just really try to meet everything else that's going to encourage the healthy lifestyle and decision making up till that point.
Totally.
You're gonna blow it out, so stay a couple extra hours for overtime.
Totally. Imagine like the week before you go, maybe you're trying to hit 10,000 steps, but if you're being honest, you're really only getting like 6,500.
Yeah.
So maybe just like pushing it, that extra 4,000, that's an extra 100 calories you burned. You don't stop drinking booze, and like if there's any like little sweets around, not to say you can't ever have them, but just don't buy them when you go grocery shopping for the last time, just so they're not tempting you in the fridge or the cupboards.
Yep.
Just like little things like that, making better food choices so you're feeling fuller longer, so you're just less tempted to snack, like, single ingredient foods, lots of veggies and lean protein, just so you're like satiated and you're not like sitting there munching all day long. So even if you don't track your calories, think just like making just simple, better choices like that can really go a long way. And also a side benefit of that is that when you do show up if you're going to see your family and old friends, you're going to look great.
Right.
People are going to be like, damn, you look good.
Right.
Because you've just been drinking all your water and eating your protein and veggies and hitting your step goal every day,
Like, oh, okay.
And then you might just be like, well, damn, that's positive feedback. Maybe I'll keep this lifestyle up.
Exactly.
Right? But I think, so that's kind of like leading up just to like give you that cushion, deposit that into the old bank account, if you know what I mean, building that fitness equity going into the weekend. But then, even like day of,
oh yeah,
what would you suggest?
I'd say similar strategy, right? Like you're going to want to, we're looking to, because I would say fundamentally, and we can talk about some potential strategies for the meal itself, but I think most people are going to want to, indulge or have food freedom in that moment, in the sense of being able to eat what they want and how much of it. You don't want to be the one that's not eating the dessert that grandma made or mom made or somebody bought from the supermarket, whatever. There's just a lot of reasons that you might want to
grandma
participate.
Bought from the supermarket.
Exactly, grandma bought from the supermarket. And so I think it's in the same way you want to create as much cushion as possible within that day. And so if you have a 2,000 calorie allotment for that day, how much of the day can you get through so that you can just use all of that budget for the one meal?
Because like eating a lot of food throughout a day, I mean, I've seen like 150-pound women plow through like 4,000 calories over the course of a day.
Yeah, because it's like, even if it's a large meal, if it, especially high fat content, not a lot of volume.
Yeah, easy.
You'll get full. Like if you eat a big juicy burger with bacon on it, you'll be full. But then you will eventually get hungry, and if you eat early enough, your stomach will clear it out. You'll have a big stretched stomach. You'll have your hunger hormones flowing from the calorie dump, and then you're going to potentially do that again. And so if you start early and eat throughout the day, you can have 3 large meals plus snacks, and let's say you're drinking if you're on vacation or whatever.
Easy 3,000.
Yeah, easy.
So, and for 99% of people, that's a surplus. But like, so the idea is that it's if you eat multiple meals throughout the day on like a holiday or whatever, or a vacation for that matter, it is incredibly easy to unintentionally overconsume.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just so easy to do, especially when you throw booze in there. Each glass of wine's 150.
Yeah. If you're having beers, it's even more. I mean, beers
Uncle Paul pulls out a
dangerous.
bottle of wine at 1 p.m. and it's like, well, it's a holiday. Next thing you know, by 10 p.m. you're 8 drinks in, and you're, it's just so easy to just blow through thousands and thousands. And so I think the idea is that if you know your maintenance, right, your body weight times 14 or 15. And then if you know the goal is to deficit your body weight times 10, let's just say we're just going to aim for maintenance this day. So if that is somewhere around, 2,500 calories, which is like most people's maintenance calories.
Yep.
Just push off eating as long as you can.
Get up, chug a bunch of water, continue water, maybe have some caffeine, black coffee, regular coffee, tea, but just some caffeine, which can act a little bit of a appetite suppressant. And just, try to avoid any type of meal that day until the big giant meal. Because realistically, any human will easily eat at least maintenance, but probably surplus, especially, again, if alcohol is included in the day in the one Thanksgiving meal.
Totally.
And there's a couple things, right? So, again, if you don't want to be completely famished, like maybe you have like a protein shake and a piece of fruit. Right, or you even have like 2 protein shakes. You have a protein shake in the morning with a piece of fruit. You have a protein shake around lunch, depending how early you get up. And now, like that's what 2, 3, maybe 400 calories at most, depending if you have the fruit.
So now you got like 2,000 calories left to just like go ham, and even if it's fatty, 2,000 calories in one meal, that's work.
That is work. And it's also, even if you overconsume and you go past 2,000, let's say alcohol included, at least, again, we're mitigating damages, right? It's the same idea of, gaining 0 pounds over the holidays versus losing weight. So if you've been on this weight loss mission since the summer and you're going you're planning on more than 6 months worth of time, you can look at not gaining any weight during the holiday as a win if the average is 8 pounds. And so I think it's the same idea of like, instead of gaining 5 pounds from Thanksgiving, if you gained 1.5 pounds, it's kind of a win. And if you had not paid attention and not put the strategies into play, the damage would be sky high.
Totally.
So I think that's kind of the idea. And, just stay hydrated, keep your stomach full of water. And then that way, when you get to the meal, you can do that big ass plate, load it up, every inch of it, gravy's leaking off the side.
Then just once it's over, just feel awful and like just Thanksgiving.
And also there's a component that like by not eating all day, your stomach will shrink and you will get full faster. And that's just going to be how you feel, and so that's just going to be an automatic stop to you eating, most likely. I mean, obviously we can eat when we're full, but just psychologically you're just not going to want more food, and so that inherently is also a strategy. And then, I think, and so that way that day is kind of, as we were talking about, there's as much cushion as possible, mitigate as much damage, and then also give you as much freedom as you can, because any degree of these strategies put into play will make an effect. So whether you don't have any meals but you start drinking at noon, well, at least you haven't induced the calories from the meals. Be careful how much you drink before dinner, but
I don't like throw up everywhere. I've been to Thanksgiving dinners, I think, where someone just got absolutely shit-faced.
I've definitely been.
By dinner time, and we're like hurling in the bathroom.
Yeah, we get there and like, somebody brings out a little whiskey and you start drinking whiskey on an empty stomach. Couple pours in, and then next thing you know, it's like actually time for food, and they're all just like
everyone's just like face, green, like.
So obviously be careful. We're not condoning drinking, but we're just saying. I think what I'm saying is that any degree of engagement with the strategies will be helpful, and if you can engage them all, you'll get the most help, and it will just end in you being able to have complete food freedom, and you can sit down at that meal as guilt-free as possible. You can enjoy yourself. You can eat everything. You can have your seconds. Eat the pie.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like, just looking at it as like, okay, here's everything I can do, but that doesn't mean that it's a binary where if you don't do any of it, you have to do it all or nothing. It's like, it can certainly just be, all right, I like the idea of shaving a few hundred calories off every day, but on Thanksgiving Day, I don't want to think about it. Okay, great. That's actually a really great place to start. Or maybe you're like, I'll just do basically the intermittent fasting idea on Thanksgiving Day, and then I'll just like, if my maintenance calorie is somewhere between 2 and 2,500, then whatever, it'll probably be somewhere around there, one huge meal plus drinks, and that's fine too. So that's all great. It just depends on like where you're at in this process, in this journey, because it's an iterative journey. It's an iterative process. It's not something that like you ever arrive at this like, promised land where everything's like perfect. It's like you're always going to have to be adjusting and acclimating your choices and behaviors with where you are in your life and your age and your activity level and who you surround yourself with and what circumstance you find yourself in. There's all these factors. And so it's just like having a few of these strategies in your tool belt that in these occasions you can whip out.
Right.
Day of, no planning. I'm just in intermittent fast. Easy peasy.
I just won't eat until the meal.
Easy peasy.
Done.
Yeah.
Right.
or just like if you are a little bit more like task oriented and you like that like process orientation, then fine. Yeah, maybe you can gamify, like more steps and less calories the week leading up.
Yes.
Maybe that's okay too.
Yep.
One more thing that I'd like to throw out there is just from a little bit more like, physiological standpoint, if you were to on the day of on turkey day, let's say, do like a 10 or 15 minute HIIT workout. It can be body weight. Maybe you're at your mom's house in your bedroom that you grew up in. It still has posters of all your superheroes on the wall and everything. Or maybe you're on some tropical island with like your hot girlfriend. Who knows? But like whatever the case might be, no matter where you are, just like get a clock for 10 minutes, pick 3 exercises and do as many rounds as possible for 10 minutes. Yeah. Push-ups, squats, sit-ups.
Yeah. Easy.
Knock them out.
Yeah, like plank jacks, lunges,
burpees, like whatever. Jump squats, like just pick a few exercises. Don't overthink it and just go. The point isn't to like develop a certain body part. The point is to create and induce sort of like a glycolytic pathway sort of response where your body has to drain those calories a little bit out of your muscle storage so that when you have your meal, you've essentially like opened up those receptors so your body can pull some of those calories from your food right into your back
like
into your muscles.
The gas tanks are empty versus the fat tanks are having, so it's like you can put a little bit in the gas tank before it goes into the infinite fat tanks.
Yes, because once the gas tank's full, it goes into the fat tanks.
It goes into the fat tanks. That's exactly right.
So,
and even going on a walk, it's like even, we're all off that day. Maybe you're hungover, maybe you're not. But like the bottom line is, yet again, take a walk with your family or take a walk to have a break from your family. Yeah. Keeping it real.
Go for a jog,
just
maybe.
Go for a jog,
anything.
Yeah. But even if, you have that whole morning and day off, any amount of activity is going to kind of, and again, it's not necessarily about the caloric burn. It's like Justin said. It's just that you're basically allocating storage potentials. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's calories involved, but you're literally just allocating storage potentials so that some percentage of the meal that you're going to eat doesn't go into fat stores. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get your big muscle groups firing. It's just open. It's just clearing the channel. It's clearing the channel so that way it's not just this huge pile up of food in your body that you're going to be puffy and swollen for days trying to metabolize, but you just kind of like open up the gates a little bit, clear the channel so when you do consume that there's somewhere for your body to put it instead of just the fat tank.
Totally. Okay. So we made it through Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We still got the weekend off. Mm-hmm. Just fuck it, right? Drink and eat all day.
I mean, Thanksgiving's a Thursday. I don't got to be back to work till Monday.
Yeah, I'm still.
So
now what? Still back home in my parents' house.
Right?
Here.
Yeah, nothing to do but drink.
Yep. Yeah.
So what do? I think that at that point, it's like this is just a time to let off the gas, and it's important. I think spiritually, I think physically, there's a lot you could argue of just like not having to be in go mode. Mm-hmm. I think, like this long weekend, and then you can have a few weeks in December to kind of get yourself back on track, and then another week or so over the holidays. But like, I think that there's just something really important about just like giving yourself permission to just take your foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And just be.
Not be on all the time.
But.
But that being said.
No. Yes, take your foot off the gas, but also don't. But that doesn't mean that you then obliterate all of your progress either. Like just because I've been really good at saving for a vacation doesn't mean that I need to like make sure that I spend everything either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just be okay with taking your foot off the gas and just eating if you're hungry. But don't feel like you just have to throw down more and more just because it's there and because there's a American culture around stuffing yourself on this weekend.
Gorging, right?
And it's just like giving yourself a little space, a little wedge of awareness between stimulus and response.
Yeah.
And be like, listen, do I actually want another slice of pie right now? I really don't, if I think about it.
Yeah. Or have I had one?
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty full. I could eat another.
Yeah, they're offering more, but do I need it?
Yeah, do I need it? And it's also like, again, it's one of those things that, and I'll be first to admit that when I've eaten super big meals and I'm puffy and I'm hungover or just any degree of it the next day, the last thing I want to do sometimes is go and exercise But, you do have off for the weekend where you might have been working for 8 hours that Friday or more or less, but whatever, let's say average 8. That's 8 hours you have free. So let's say you get to sleep in. There is kind of a component of like owing yourself just a little bit to at least go take a walk. Like you've got the day off. Yeah. Just go. Doesn't have to be all 10,000 steps in one go, but just like go for a walk for 30 minutes or more. Not like a little 10-minute block walk. Yeah. But like commit to something. Just do something. Take the opportunity of a novel schedule and a novel moment to just, honor moving your body. You're going to feel better afterwards. You're going to be able to eat more food if that's what you're doing now. But you'll just feel better. And so I think there's just this opportunity of like, going on a walk doesn't have to be being on. It can be like, wow, it's kind of brisk and beautiful autumn out.
Yeah.
And whatever it might be. So I think there's just like a ways of like kind of having your cake and eating it too. And like I understand wanting to just completely laze on the couch and do nothing and do whatever. But if you also just like go to the gym the day afterwards, go for the walk.
You might like, and that's not like it can be. I mean, if you've been exercising long enough, then exercise is meditative in a lot of ways, and it is like a little bit of space you have just for you.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's nothing wrong with that at all. On the other hand, if you've been training really hard for a long time and restricting calories and training, and you've been just like really pushing, I think that like the whole point is to then if we never let off the gas, then what's the point of it all anyways? And so I think that depending on kind of like your own temperature of just like where you're at, but if it's important, especially you need to get away from the family and just like go do a day pass at a gym and just be gone for a few hours, like I get that,
100%.
But if it's also like you feel like you have to work out, or you're gonna lose something, like that's not the right headspace either.
I would agree. I mean, I think it is all about balance. And if you're somebody that doesn't practice, a healthy lifestyle, so to speak, you're not saying that you're unhealthy, right? But if you don't exercise, you're not doing steps, you don't calorie count, maybe that's when you can owe it to yourself to do a little bit of a walk or something, and I think it does balance is different for different people based on where they are in their lives. Like you said, if you've got somebody who's really regimented, who's on their game all the time, balance for them might just be this weekend is off.
Yeah,
I'll
just
eat whatever
walking.
I want. I'll do it. Maybe I'll go for my walk. Yeah, because walking is just makes us feel good. It's not even about being disciplined. It's just like I'm just gonna feel better.
Right.
So and I think but it's one of those things that, especially if you are on a body composition change, like if you are looking to lose weight and you don't want to lose it all, do cut the middle ground somewhere. Like I'm not saying that you got to go right back to calorie counting and staying away from the leftovers, but maybe it's like when it's time to have a slice of pie, you have a half a slice. Like I'm not saying don't eat the pie. I'm not even saying count the calorie, but just maybe have a half a slice.
Yeah, what's the inflection point where you actually are pretty satisfied, but you still find yourself eating and you're like, I don't really want this, but I'm just eating anyways. Like try to be conscious of that inflection point with all of your meals of just, okay, you know what? I'm actually really satisfied, and I feel there might be some pure pressure to finish, but if I'm being honest with myself, I don't really want anymore.
Yeah, and I think
it's okay to advocate, I think, for yourself a little bit and just be like, oh my God, that was so good. Thank you so much. It was delicious, but I'm okay.
I'm all for it. And I think it's like depending on how attached you are and how important your goal is, that those little decisions like having a half slice of pie is going to mean that when Monday rolls around and you get back on the scale because you're on this journey, you're not going to be that upset.
Because that's a really important point. It's like,
right? It's like, because
there is going to be a Monday version of you.
Yes, right. And like, if you're invested in this
I know
journey,
it's Friday, but Monday you is 2 days away, and Monday you is going to hop on that scale and go, fuck.
Right, like I just took away 2 or 3 weeks worth of work.
Yeah,
and like you might not want to do that. And so it's just a degree. And again, I think as to what Justin was saying, like balance and how you approach the weekend is going to be different from different people. And I do think balance is important. And I think that balance includes like where you are on that journey. And if you're somebody who is looking to lose weight, that it's not about just doing nothing once you've gotten through, nothing indulgent or nothing enjoyable once you've gotten through Thanksgiving meal, but just maybe some middle ground decisions can just mean that it's only a 3-pound gain on Monday versus 7 or whatever it might be. And whatever the example might be.
Exactly. Giving a couple pounds up after a holiday, that's a win.
Yeah.
Most of it, if it's just a couple pounds, it's likely that it's just water weight anyways.
Say, some water, maybe a little bit
If you're like
fat.
7 pounds, like, man, that's probably a lot of water weight, but it's also probably some fat in there too.
Yeah, exactly.
You definitely were pushing.
Yeah.
You were pushing hard.
Yep.
So anyways, yeah, there we go, guys. Like, I think, I hope that helps give you guys some strategies. And again, this is in the context of Thanksgiving, but certainly this could apply for any vacation or long weekend that you have coming up. Like, just
any holiday.
think about it ahead of time, just a tad, and how you would like, you're the architect of your own life. And if you just take a second to just not just get swept up in the current, but look at it for a second and be like, what could I do? And then, it's like so much of that trajectory of our life is you can extrapolate down to like the quality of attention you put on the immediate future. Like, what is my intention in this trip? And making a few little, outline bullet points like that can really shape how your Monday you is going to feel.
Feel about it.
Yeah.
Feel about your Friday you.
Yeah, for Friday me and Monday me do not like each other. No. Cool. Okay, guys, that was episode 40, Coach's Corner Thanksgiving special, and we will check you all next time. Peace out.
Peace.